Welcome to this explainer. Today we're taking a look at one of the most intensely practical ancient texts ever written. And hey, forget whatever dusty, boring ideas you might associate with ancient literature. We're talking about a fresh, vibrant, and honestly incredibly modern translation of the Book of Proverbs. Let's just dive right in, shall we?
Look at the sheer urgency in this opening quote. Wisdom isn't hiding away in some distant monastery or a quiet, dimly lit library somewhere. No way. She is right out there in the middle of a busy intersection, literally shouting over the noise of the traffic and all your daily chaos, asking how long you're going to take pleasure in ignorance. It immediately tells us this isn't just some theoretical philosophy. It's an urgent, blaring wake-up call meant to completely interrupt our daily routine.
So, that brings us to Section 1, a manual for life where we're learning how to live a good and just life.
You see, this text acts exactly like a user manual for life. It's designed to teach the inexperienced how the world actually operates. But you know, it's not just for the young or naive. There are some incredibly profound lessons here for the experienced folks, too. It offers this deep comprehension of reality so that, no matter where you're at in life right now, you can navigate your modern problems in a really good, honest way. Seriously, think of it as the ultimate operating manual for human existence.
Moving right along to Section 2, Wisdom Against Ignorance. This is all about the path of life versus the dead end.
Now, before you can even step foot on the path of the wise, you gotta understand the starting line. The text calls this the fear of the eternal, and Chapter 8 gives us a super practical definition here. It doesn't mean cowering in a corner in terror, not at all. It means actively hating evil, pride, arrogance, and perverse conversation. True wisdom absolutely begins with a profound respect for the divine and a total, uncompromising rejection of toxic behaviors.
This perfectly sets up two completely timeless archetypes, the wise and the fool. The wise person? They actively accept discipline and literally chase after understanding. They actually want to be corrected because they want to grow. But the fool, well, they ridicule the whole idea of right and wrong. They think they know better. But as we'll see, their path inevitably leads to a literal dead end.
The stakes here are incredibly high. This isn't just about being book smart versus being a bit silly. Choosing wisdom is literally a matter of life and self-preservation. Just look at the quote, "Whoever finds me finds true life, but whoever rejects me commits violence against himself." Crazy, right? By choosing to ignore wisdom, we're actively harming ourselves. Despising knowledge is literally equated with wanting your own destruction. It is that serious.
So, where does the rubber meet the road? Let's check out Section 3, The Weight of Words, where we dive into gossip, truth, and the absolute power of the tongue. Every single day, the way we speak dictates which of those two paths we're walking on. We get this clear comparison between words that heal and words that destroy. On the wisdom side, a moderate, gentle response actually neutralizes anger, and telling the truth literally saves lives. But on the fool's path, words are totally weaponized. Gossip brings immense trouble and completely severs friendships. Our speech is never just neutral, guys. It's either building a firm foundation or it's burning the house down.
I absolutely love the vivid imagery used here. Listening to gossip is like eating expired candy. At first it is a delight, but the pain will soon come. It's such a modern, relatable feeling, isn't it? We all know that immediate sugary rush of hearing a really juicy piece of gossip, but we're quickly reminded of that inevitable stomachache, the toxic fallout that ruins relationships and destroys trust.
And looking at this summary table, the advice on tongue control is just incredibly practical. Kind words? They're compared to honeycombs, offering literal healing for the soul. Gossip and slander bring fire and ruin. But check out those bottom two rows. Talking too much puts you at risk of sinning and just looking foolish. Honestly, sometimes the absolute most valuable thing you can do is just stay quiet. By just zipping it, even a fool can pass for being intelligent and prudent.
All right, moving seamlessly from our words to our wallets. In Section 4, Work, Laziness, and Money. Here we're looking at the ant, the sluggard, and what true wealth really is.
There is this really sharp, honestly almost sarcastic disdain for laziness in this manual. It's brilliantly illustrated by this quote, "The sluggard sticks his fork in the pie but is too lazy to bring it to his mouth." I mean, it's a hilarious, totally hyperbolic image, but it cuts deep. It shows how the lazy person desperately wants the reward. They want that pie, but they absolutely refuse to put in the basic, sustained effort required to actually enjoy it. And here we see the diligent compared directly to the sluggard. Notice how diligent, proactive effort brings plenty and independence. The ultimate role model here is a bug, the ant,
a tiny creature that needs absolutely no boss to tell it to work hard and store up provisions. Meanwhile, justifying your laziness with, just a nap here, a little snooze there, is a direct fast track to a poor, miserable life where you're just permanently in need.
Now, while hard work is totally vital, there are firm boundaries on how we conduct ourselves to get ahead. Chapter 6 drops this definitive list of 6 things the Eternal absolutely hates. Let's run through them. Arrogant eyes, a lying tongue, murderous hands, a heart planning evil, feet running toward wickedness, a lying mouth, and then the 7th, the absolute deal breaker, the person who provokes fights and sows discord. Honestly, consider this the ultimate behavioral do-not-do list for your personal integrity.
And that brings us to a really vital caveat. While diligence is heavily praised, there's a huge flashing warning sign against the obsession with getting rich quickly. The more you have, the less you are. Wealth can literally just grow wings, fly away, and disappear into the vast blue sky. True wealth isn't about hoarding cash through some sketchy, easy schemes. It's about steady, honest accumulation while actually maintaining your character.
Okay, let's pivot to our final thematic section. Section 5, choosing your company and how who you walk with defines who you are.
This next quote is about as blunt and timeless as it gets. Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but whoever walks with the fool will see his life go down the drain. Your peers completely dictate your trajectory. You simply cannot outsmart the influence of your inner circle. It's just a fact.
So the manual warns us heavily against toxic company. It tells us point blank to avoid the violent, the arrogant, and the perverted. In incredibly modern, street-smart terms, it's basically saying to get out right now, or you're going to get into a massive mess. Instead, we're instructed to seek out real friendships, to value the kind of friend who sharpens another just like iron sharpens iron. We need people who challenge us to be better. Definitely not people who drag us into those dead ends we talked about earlier.
And when it comes to the ultimate partnership, a faithful, wise partner is elevated way, way above any kind of material riches. Whoever finds a good wife finds the greatest treasure. She is worth much more than diamonds. It is such a beautiful reminder that our greatest assets in life aren't things. They're the people we build our homes with, characterized by deep trust, proactive care, and total mutual respect.
So how does this all tie together? Well, look at this final summary table comparing the holistic life results of the two paths. In finances, the wise accumulate honestly, while the fool tries those easy schemes and ends up totally broke. When it comes to reputation, the wise are respected and remembered fondly, but the fool's name just rots. In relationships, the wise build firm, peaceful homes, while the fool is just constantly attracting fights and betrayal. And the ultimate destiny? A long, exuberant, safe life for the wise versus a complete dead end and total ruin for the fool. It really lays it all out for us.
Which brings us right back to where we started. Remember, wisdom isn't hiding. She is out there shouting in the busiest street of your life right now. She's in the way you speak to your coworker, the way you manage your time, the way you choose your friends. The manual has been laid out super clearly right in front of you. So the question is, are you paying attention to the call, or are you just pretending to be deaf? Take a moment to really reflect on that. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I truly hope this helps you navigate your path a little more wisely today.